90 a.m. in New York, streaming to you at nationalactionnetwork.net. We're live here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. Right now, brothers and sisters, put your hands together and get on your feet for the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice, no release. No justice, no release. No justice, no release. No justice, no release. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. 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 Fist bump the person next to you, tell them you love them. National Action Network Change Ensemble, give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here in the House of Justice Auditorium, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, we are happy to be with you again where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. And certainly our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. And give a hand, we're honored to have Reverend Sean Jones from Ossining, Bethlehem Baptist, our inspirational speaker. And we're glad to have them with us today. Certainly have a lot of ground to cover. We dedicated the broadcast today to the memory of our own Marcus Garvey Jr., who passed this week, and certainly down through the years kept the legacy and memory of his father alive. And then Mother Sarah Hunt, who led our chapter in Macon, Georgia, and helped to build chapters around the United States, particularly the South. I want to give special recognition to Charles Yoon, the president of the Korean, where is he at? Of the Korean American. Give them a hand for what they did. And the honoree. They gave some scholarships to our young people with Youth Huddle, and as we work together, and I think that it is a great thing as we show our young people at a young age that we work across the cultural and ethnic lines, and the scholarships by Charles Yoon to Ahmed and to Dasa, I think is worthy of that. They also came and helped us when we were doing the giving food in our partnership during the pandemic. And I think that it's worthy of them as we celebrate them. Give them a hand one more time. Let me say that as we cover a lot of ground, I want to give a lot of credit to our staff and to our community people for the celebrating of our Triumph Awards this year. It aired on Monday night, and people all over the world watched it. And I want to give credit to Dominique, who produced it. And we give her credit, and she was ably assisted by those on staff, Tyler Perry and Angela Bassett and others. For this great Triumph Awards. You that have not seen it, you should go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and tune in. Let's welcome our family Impact Television watching all over the country. So if you go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and you can watch the Triumph Awards. Certainly we were honoring this year Tyler Perry and, as I said, actress Angela Bassett and more, and we are grateful for you that supported it. I want to get to a lot, but let me first say that I'm proud. You know, all of my life, one of the regrets I had, I always wanted to go to a historic black college. And when I did get of age, I went to Brooklyn College for a couple of years, but never did get to a historic black college. Well, it was announced this week that I'm now a visiting professor at Tennessee State. I'm very proud that the president of Tennessee State, who had me do the commencement over a year ago, and then gave me an honorary degree, and she's now called me, and she's one of our leading historic black college presidents, Glenda Glover, also has AKA Glenda Glover. And she said, would you, for the next semester, be a visiting professor? And I said, a visiting professor? She said, yes. So I'm starting in the January semester. We're going to start as a visiting professor on political science and social justice for TSU. So somebody send a memo to Attorney Hardy starting next Saturday, introduce me as Professor Sharpton. I just want to get these ranks straight up in here. I want to deal, I know a lot of us watching around the world want to know about the meeting we had this week with President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Harris, and I want to get into that. But before I get there, before I even get near it, let me get into some local New York stuff, which only the New York folk is going to be interested in. But there is a mayoral election next year, and already a lot of the people that are running or want to run or dreaming about running, and most of them going to end up walking for mayor rather than run. But all of them are lining up, and we do not know the field yet, but we know those talking about getting in the field. And it came to me the other day that Max Rose, who was congressman in Staten Island, stood up on the Garner case, and you give a hand, Gwen Carr, Eric Garner's mother here. Stand up, Gwen. You see, Gwen and I got on our new dudes today. We getting ready for Kwanzaa. We got our new outfits on today. And it came to me, Max Rose may run. And he came and see me, and we talked. He did not tell me whether he was definitely running, but we spent about an hour together in the office. I've known him a long time. In fact, he went to school with Dominique and Ashley. So that's how long, this before he went to the service. And that's how long I've known Max Rose. Then I got a call that Andrew Yang may run. And I got to know Yang during the presidential campaign. And many of you know I went to just about all the debates, and we got to know each other. And he's come to see me this week. But they're saying that Andrew Yang may run and that one poll has him in charge. I think everybody running ought to talk to everybody in communities that can give them information. Now, I got called yesterday by Scott Stringer, who's running, has hired a campaign manager who was part of this racist campaign in 2001 that Mark Green was running in. And what they did was there was a cartoon in one of the local New York tabloids who always is attacking us, whatever, where they had a cartoon with Freddie Ferrer, who was a Latino candidate, kissing my behind. And this is when I was much fatter. My behind was much bigger, but my memory is firm. And they took that cartoon and sent it only to white voters. This was a deliberate race baiting tactic. And one of the people, one of the youngsters involved, Porter called me yesterday and said Scott Stringer has hired him in his campaign. Now, the young man was 19, came to me years later and said he was wrong, said it was a racist scheme, he apologized. But what I did not understand, and I said this in the paper today, is if you were going to hire him, Scott, you should have called me and Freddie and said, I think the guy's redeemed, blah, 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 and not let some reporter say, I ain't mad at the kid. I've made mistakes. I've never been in an overt racial scheme, but I've said things that I wish I hadn't said. There's a difference between scheming and mailing and targeting the race-baiting election. That's Donald Trumpism locally. There's a difference in that I wish I hadn't have said something in a way that could have been misinterpreted. But I said Scott should have given us the heads up. Now, I'm going to talk to the guy again because the guy did apologize and the guy got a right to move on like all of us do. But we cannot end this Donald Trump racist poison atmosphere. Not let anything just go without us having a real conversation about we are on our way out of that kind of political race baiting. Not in it. So that's my local stuff. So all of y'all sitting up there with the New York fever can get over it. Let's go on to something national. Because I'm very, very outraged about the fact that we are now in a pandemic that is costing over 3,000 lives a day. I want y'all to hear me now. 3,000 people a day started dying the end of this week. One of the worst traumatic moments of my life, and most of your lives, and one of the most despicable memories in American history was when we had 9/11 at World Trade Center and 3,000 people were killed. We're having that a day now. And the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is running around trying to undo an election rather than deal with a pandemic. A CDC came out, Center for Disease Control. CDC, Center for Disease Control, not the Congressional Black Caucus. The CDC, not CBC. They had a memo that talked about how there is disproportionate deaths and coronavirus in the black community.
That's right.
They don't want to talk about this. That not only are people dying, we are disproportionately dying. And according to the report, the reason we are dying is we have the worst health facilities. We are a community that has the lowest amount of insurance, so when you go to get health care, you don't have the insurance to show the practitioner. And we live in multiple dwellings, which leads to more exposure. And we have the jobs that are the essential jobs at a disproportionate amount. So the social landscape of America makes black candidates primary for any pandemic or any disease. And it is being ignored by this present president. So when we started convening ministers and our chairman started convening conference of national black churches around this issue, people that come from ignorance start saying, what y'all got to do with this? We got everything to do with it. Because if we are the ones disproportionately dying, how can any preacher, leader, activist, academician, whatever you are, not deal with an issue that our people are dying and everybody dying? We are required to stand up and deal with this. Now they asked me on MSNBC last night, and I'm going to do it on my show tonight and tomorrow night, both nights, 5 o'clock MSNBC, but I was on Nicole's show. Would I take the vaccine? I said, first of all, the question is the safety of the vaccine. And to prove the vaccine is safe. If it's safe, anybody would take it. But I want to know it's safe. Now, don't act like by raising the question is irrational, given the history of what has happened with blacks in vaccines from Tuskegee to polio. Don't act like we paranoid. No, we got good memory. But we also understand science because we were scientists as well. If the vaccine works, I'll be the first one. I met with some pharmacists this week and said that how do we make sure if this is safe that it gets in our community? And we trying to find some business folks to say, how do they open up storefronts using things to get in our community? But I want to know it's safe. But I also don't want, if it's safe, that you put it on Park Avenue and not on 125th Street. So you got a two-pronged problem. One, you got to get me convinced, and second, you got to give me access. We are not, Andrew Cuomo's right about this, we're not going to let them segregate the distribution of a safe vaccine. You ain't going to gentrify this. If this thing is safe, we all going to get it, or we going to make sure you understand where it is. We going to show up there in big numbers. Because we are disproportionately impacted. And you ought to serve based on where the problem is. Same time, our community needs to practice the protocol. Can you imagine? You got people running around this country talking about they are exercising their civil right to not wear a mask. You got right-wingers trying to make a movement out of wearing a mask. Well, you got a right to take your mask off, and you ain't got a right to expose others to your possible virus that don't give you that right. And we must preach safety, but we must preach fairness. And that's one of the things that I think we got to be clear about, Reverend Jones, is that our community must be responsible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But at the same time, we must not apologize for the history that we inherited. Yes, sir. I tell people the other day, yeah, I'll take the vaccine if it's safe. Well, yeah, I don't understand why some black, well, no, wait a minute, I ain't going there. I understand why. Because of the history. And we're going to make sure history ain't repeating itself. That's right. That's right. Just like, people, there's something crazy about people that laugh at the conditions their people were put through. I see people doing holidays. Y'all getting in this holiday thing. Well, you know how grandma is. Grandma is a certain way because they treated grandma a certain way. Don't act like something was wrong with grandma. There was something wrong with what grandma had to go through. I remember when I did the eulogy at Michael Jackson's funeral, and I said to Michael's kids, wasn't nothing wrong with your daddy. And some of the tabloids said, how could he say about Wacko Jacko wasn't nothing wrong with their daddy? If you look at Hollywood, and you got everybody from Elton John to Liberace to Judy Garland, all these flamboyant people, y'all act like something abnormal about Michael. Michael came in an industry that kind of charismatic, flashy flamboyance is what sold. But when a black does it, you act like they a freak. And when a white do it, you act like they're a genius. Let's play the game by one set of rules. So on this pandemic, we need to get our community serviced at the level that our community is damaged. And we should be given a priority. Yes, the doctors and the nurses and the nursing homes ought to be first. The essential workers, which are disproportionately us. But when they start mass distribution, once it's passed, all of the scientific analysis and all of the checkoff points we need medically, we want mass distribution across the board. We do not want to see some for some and not for others. We intend to make our presence known and felt about that. I want to also say that while I'm going into this Biden meeting, that I joined many. I never will forget one of the issues that was raised by Attorney Hardy and others in the legal world that a lot of us missed. You know, the more you understand what Trump did, the more you will understand what we are presenting to Biden that needs to be undone. And one of the things that Trump immediately did was privatize federal prisons. Privatize it again. And he also ended the consent decrees in many cities and states. A consent decree is when you find there is a pattern and practice by police of abuse, and you remove the authority from the locality, from the locals, to where they now are run by the Justice Department. He removed all that. And to show that kind of where he changed the federal model in the criminal justice area, is they executed a black man named Brandon Bernard the other night, a federal prosecution, when even the members of the jury were saying, don't do it. On the way out the door, there was a federal execution of a black man. While he's sitting up in deliberations about pardoning his family and his friends and himself, he would not even hear the words of the jurors that convicted this man for a crime he did at 18 years old. This is the legacy of Donald Trump. And that's why we continue to fight. We asked the 7 organizations that met with Biden when he was running and that laid out things to Biden when he was running. National Action Network, National Urban League, NAACP, Legal Defense Fund, Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, Black Women's Roundtable, and the Lawyers Committee. That's the 7 groups. When we stood up and laid out a plan to Biden, he committed that he would meet with us if he won. When he got the nomination, we met. We are the 7 groups that stayed together through the 8 years of Barack Obama. When a lot of folks were saying and doing whatever, we stayed together during the 8 years of Barack Obama. 8 years that we got affordable care and consent decrees and all that. And I tell all of the people that were criticizing Obama, what is Trump undoing if Obama didn't do nothing? Same folks that say Obama didn't do nothing is now saying Trump reversing everything Obama did, but I thought you said he didn't do nothing. He had to get stuff done while you were out taking shots at him and running your mouth and helping the right wing be empowered to tear him down. I did not agree with everything that Obama did, and I wanted to push things further and faster and would say that to him, but I was not going to let the opposition use me to tear down a man that was doing all he could in the right direction. So when Biden agreed to meet with us this last week, it was because he had made that commitment to us. And I want to give credit to those 7 of us, because we stayed together now for the last 8 or 9 years. And we found that all of us got different organizations, different styles, different lanes, different egos, but all of us managed to stay together all the way even through the to the march, August 28th in Washington. Every one of the 7 groups supported the march. So a lot of folk calling me, asking me why they were not in the meeting. Well, one, we were all together anyway, and they weren't in the march. They weren't in the other stuff we did. So you wasn't in the risk. What you think we gonna do? We can't tell folk to let folk do things that were not part of the whole process. I hope Biden meet with everybody, but he gonna deal with the ones he had promised as well. I ain't got a problem with him meeting with everybody. I'll meet with them all night long. But keep your commitment to us. Now, what I said, somebody leaked some of the tape of the meeting, leaked the whole tape. Don't edit what you like. Put the whole tape out. I can't speak for all 7, so you let my part out. Put out everything I said, put it out. Because first thing, I don't say nothing in private that I won't say in public. Whatever I say in private, I'll say in public. If I say something while I'm asleep, I wake up and take my smartphone and record. I just said something asleep. I was dreaming about Stephen Marshall and me going to the movies, blah, blah, blah. I recorded, I got it all public. And you people calling me that crazy. They leaked the tape. Good. And ain't nothing Biden said that he ain't said in public. So let's get past you playing I Spy. And let's deal with the issue. Everybody run around trying to be a private detective. You know, when Hardy's growing up, Columbo. Everybody was trying to be Columbo. Hardy had him a trench coat and was looking like Columbo. When you get through playing with Columbo, let's get down to the fact that people need goods and services and their rights protected. What we said is that we want to see diversity in the highest level of your cabinet. There are 4 of the statutory offices or cabinet offices. Well, there's more than 4, but 4 focal points and then the statutory cabinet. The 4 powerful points is Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Attorney General, and Commerce. Right? Now, we've already seen where they went with Secretary of State. We already seen where they were going with Secretary of Treasury. They went to Janet Yellen. Wasn't nothing left but Defense and Attorney General. That's where, so I said Commerce is Attorney General. Before they went to Defense and Attorney General, we wanted to meet. In our research, it is not customary for president-elects and vice president-elects to meet until after the inauguration, because they are not sworn in. But given the nature of the pandemic and the height of this bigotry coming out of the White House, to his credit, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris said, we'll meet with y'all before the inauguration. to him in the meeting that my preference is that you have a black attorney general. The least you should have is someone with a civil rights and voting rights background, because they've got to deal with civil rights and policing and voting issues, and we don't need somebody that has to do some on-the-job training. We need somebody that can hit the day one and know what to do, because the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department has been decimated. And I said, I don't care about the right or the left, those that are claiming they're progressive or progressive about everything but race. I'm talking about us. Now you played my part to tell you, I said that. I'm not looking for a better slave master, I'm looking for freedom. And I told Biden, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about those that want to speak for us, to you, like they our slave masters. These latte liberals that want to define our agenda to fall into their agenda, but we don't get the rewards when it comes back. That's what I told them. Don't let these folks speak for us. They're not in control of us. So that day we met, he announced the defense, Secretary of Defense, General Austin, and they done jumped on him. Well, he was in the military till 4 years ago. You got to be out 7. Well, I don't know Austin. I might have met him at Summer Washington. I might not. I don't remember. I know I ain't never had a meeting with him. But I said, what I want is, let's play the game by one set of rules. If y'all gave Mattis a waiver, before Mattis there was another waiver, so you gave 2 whites waivers, and you get to the third guy, and all of a sudden it's progressive to stand up against him? Based on what? Well, he was involved in some of the defense and military private sector. Well, somebody in Treasury will come out of finance.
That's right, that's right.
Somebody that head of Health and Human Services came out of health. Whoever you put in defense gonna have had something to do with the military. You know, I didn't get to TSU yet, but I got that much sense. Don't play games. And don't let people, in the name of trying to put their friends in, jam our being included at the highest level of a government that we disproportionately stood in line and voted for. We are not begging for no donation. We stood in line all over this country. We took every roadblock they put in and turned out the largest voting turnout in the history of this country. We are going to be at the table to get for our people, because our people deliver. We went around the country and everybody voted. I toured during the pandemic, telling people to vote. On the radio show every day, I'm on the air every day, telling people to vote. So you are absolutely correct that I'm going in there and say, since we voted, and you the winner, and you promised to me, this is what we said when you ran. I was in the room when Joe Biden met with George Floyd's family. Rachel Nordlinger here, Rachel walked the family up to the room, met at a soul food restaurant. in Houston, Texas, the day before the funeral. And I said, Mr. President-elect, at the end of the meeting, George Floyd's little daughter, you said to her, I saw you on television, and you said your daddy is going to change the world, and he will. Well, I come to tell you, in the name of his daughter, that you got to keep that promise and help us change the world. And he confirmed, he said that. And that's what we got to do. Play that tape. Let me tell you something. We are called at this time to stand up and do what is supposed to be done. This ain't no politics with me. We were called for this time. I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about all of us. God calls the people, Reverend Jones alluded to it in his inspirational message, for the time they in. I'm tired of these preachers that are experts at what God did and won't stand up and prove what God does. Y'all gonna have Christmas in, what, 13 days, 14 days. Kids don't want to know what you gave them for Christmas 5 years ago. Y'all that celebrate Christmas and add a Christmas tree and all that. Kids come down to Christmas tree. You ain't got a note up there telling them 5 years ago this is what I did. You're supposed to have a gift under there right now. My little grandson ain't 2 years old yet till next month, and he looking for what he getting for Christmas. He can't even say Christmas, but he looking for a gift. I know his mother and his aunt done put him up to it, giving me a note of what he want for Christmas. He can't even write. Like I don't know Dominique and Ashley write. Deliver slaves in the Bible.
That's right.
He delivers slaves right now. He not only stood up for the oppressed in the Bible, he'll stand with the oppressed right now. If you stand up and deal with the God of the oppressed, God is still in the freedom fighting business. But you get caught up in foolishness. Well, you know you can't do that. You ain't equipped for that. You ain't got enough money. You ain't got enough background. You done made mistakes. They gonna dig up some mess on you. You know you ain't refined enough. You ain't got enough connection. Let me tell you something. Everybody God used in the Bible was people that didn't think they were qualified. Take out the Bible, go to Jeremiah 1st chapter, 5th verse. Jeremiah 1st chapter, 5th verse, read it.
Before I formed you in the womb.
Wait a minute. Now, this is God talking to Jeremiah. Jeremiah didn't think he was qualified to be a prophet. Like you don't think you qualified to be an activist or a leader. So God talked to Jeremiah and said, before I
formed you in the womb.
Before I formed you in the womb, let's get one thing straight now. You are not no accident. You are a decision God made. Your mama and daddy couldn't form you in the womb. God formed you in the womb. And before I formed you in the womb, what?
I knew you.
I knew you.
Before you were born, I set you apart.
Before you were born, I set you apart. Tell all my critics that the reason they can't stop me is he set me apart. Tell all of my haters the reason they can't stop me is he set me apart. Tell all of them that say Sharpton's still out there, before you could cut me off, God set me apart. Look at the person next to you and tell them, I know he set me apart. I ain't got your degrees, I ain't got your sanction, I ain't got your permission, but before I was born, he set me apart. And if you got an argument, argue with God. I'm going to do what he set me apart to do. I used to argue with my critics. I don't argue with them no more. Because it ain't up to me to defend. I don't know why I started preaching it for. I don't know why I do what I do. I know I have to do it. That's that set apart side. And if you understand that that calling you have, it ain't just a Sharpton thing, it's you. That calling, that mission you keep feeling inside, is what you were set aside to do. Then you'll be able to run and not get weary, and walk and not faint. There's some energy in following what God called you to do. Go back and give me 5 through 10 in the new translation. So we got, we multi-generational here. We got everybody from Huddle to Hardy. We go all generations. So the other folk is in the new translation. Read 5 to 10.
Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee to be a prophet unto the nations.
Ordained thee to be a prophet to the nation. Go ahead.
Then I said, Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child.
Now, this is Jeremiah arguing back. That's you giving the excuse why you can't do this. You keep feeling it, but you don't understand I'm a child. You don't understand, God, I made a mistake. You don't understand I've been to jail. I got a record. You don't understand me and my folks broke up. You don't understand I got scandalous stuff. Telling God why he couldn't do it. Go ahead.
But the Lord said unto me,
now God talk back.
I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee.
You go to all I send you.
And whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak.
Whatever I command you speak. God don't even waste a lot of time rationalizing with you. Just go do what I told you to do.
Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord. Then the Lord put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And the Lord said unto me, behold, I have not put my words in thy mouth. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms to root out, to pull down and destroy, and to throw down, to build and to plant.
To build and to plant. I wanted you today to leave here today knowing that no matter what your past has been, that God has called for us in this time and this hour, as we go from Trump to the next phase, to stand in the gap and prophesy to this nation and to guide this nation to justice and fairness. They're going to call us names. He said, be not afraid, because I've raised you up. I set you apart before you was born. Before you even knew who and what you was, I already ordained you for this hour. Some of us gonna be out front, some of us behind, some of us gonna be big, some of us gonna be small, but all of us got a role. I ordained and set you apart before you was born. And that's what you must know in this hour. Well, a lot of us got complexes. about things we have done. I was watching a documentary the other night. Guy said it took him till he was in his 40s to get over some of the scars and pain he went through in his family and his growing up. And many of us all our lives, ain't no use playing with it, are scarred by things that we never get over. But I want you to know that God takes scarred people to do his will. That's why I wrote that book, Rejected Stone. There was no accident that it was in the book that the stone that the rejected became the cornerstone. God, you don't build buildings with smooth, pretty stones. You first got to get some rugged stones to lay the foundation. And the pretty penthouse is dependent on the stones that's the foundation. I don't need to be all cute and all pedigreed and all filling out, checking off each box. I come rugged, I come scarred, I come smeared, and God uses rejects as the cornerstone. Every time they write long stories about me, Reverend Jones, they say, yeah, but he made this mistake, and yeah, he did this. But when I get on my knees, something lights up when I pray. And the preacher put it in a song. Marvin Sapp said, he seen the best in me. Wasn't like I didn't have some wrong and I didn't have some bad, but he saw the best in me. When everybody saw the worst in me, I come with the best in me to stand up because he set me aside. He set me aside. He set me aside.
Saw the best in me when everyone else around could only see the worst in me. He saw the best in me when everyone else around could only see the worst in me. Yes, he did. Oh, God saw the best in me when everyone else around me could only see the worst in me. So glad that he did. Oh, see, he is mine and I am his. It doesn't matter what I did, 'cause he only sees me for who I am. Oh, he's mine and I'm his. It doesn't matter what I did. He only sees me for who I am. So glad to know he saw the best in me when everyone else around me could only see the worst in me.
Minister Tyrone Richardson. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Everybody's singing. One more time. of the movement. There may be someone here today in the auditorium that never joined National Action Network. You hear us on the radio, you see some of our activities on television, but never became an active part of this organization. If you're here today, just come right down to me and I'll have them sign you up. I want you not to let this time go. He set you aside. So now it's time for you to do your work. Won't you come right now? You that are listening on radio, call the 1-877-626-4651. 1-877-626-4651, and you can join on the phone. Come on, everybody's singing. If you're here, come on. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. Everybody's singing. All right. I'm going to raise our offering. Moving quickly. We'll raise our offering and then have our dismissal. Don't forget that we are this year for Christmas on the 24th, Christmas Eve, we'll be handing out the toys and gifts to young people. Bring your young people, your children and grandchildren, nieces, nephews. Christmas Eve, 6 to 8, we'll be handing out toys and gifts here. Then on Christmas Day, which is Friday from 11:30 to 3, we'll be passing out hot meals like we did Thanksgiving. We're not going to eat here, but we're going to give meals to everybody that may not have a Christmas dinner. We're going to do what Christ would want to do on his birthday. They got the wrong date, but since y'all celebrating it that day, we're going to do it what Christ would do. If I were to come to your birthday, I would listen to the music you like, eat the food you like, because we having your birthday. Everybody celebrate Jesus' birthday but Jesus. Imagine you invite me to your birthday for a birthday party and I come and ask you, what did I get? Well, this is supposed to be Jesus' birthday. You talking about what did you get? It ain't your birthday. It's what you give is a gift to him. And we teach people backwards. Like they supposed to be getting something on your birthday. So we've been doing this every year, and this will be our 29th year of doing this on Christmas Day. But this first time we did it Christmas Eve, but we don't want the children and the adults given COVID having to be online at the same time because we're practicing social distancing. All right, I'm going to start our offering. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability, and you know what you got. You know, you lying, you know if you can give much. So don't be peeling off some roll of money and talk about you're activists and give me some non-active money. I need about 10 people that can give $100 or more to come first. I got an anonymous gift here for Christmas to Nan, $500. The Guardians, $100. Winston Gilchrist, $100. Rachel Nordlinger, $100. Thank you, sir. He ran down the aisle to give his. Saboni from Mount Vernon. He ran down the aisle to give his. Corey Rice from the Central Park 5, now exonerated 5, $100. You know, Corey, you know Rachel gave hers because I was going to talk about that $800 pantsuit she got on, but now that she gave 100, I ain't going to talk about that $800 pantsuit and $1,200 boots. I'm just going to leave her alone. Is that a customized face mask? It says Gucci on the side of her face mask. And me and Hardy still wearing Poochie. Knockoffs, 125th Street. It covers. '21 Hope Foundation, they the ones gave us the scholarship today for our young people. Give them a hand. $100 and gave the scholarship. And working with her. All right, 50s. Minister Stephen Marshall, $50. Thank you. Come on, 50s. Reverend Jones, $50. Glad to have him again, all the way from Osley. Dawn Jones, our board member, $50. Membership, $50. Dr. Antoine, I didn't know with his face mask on. All right, thank you. Dr. Antoine, good to have you. Reverend Carolyn, $50. 20s. 20s. Soul Train. Whatever you have, $1, $5, $10, whatever you have. Let us not forget you that want to volunteer for Christmas Eve or Christmas, see Katrina Jefferson at the counter. And of course, don't forget to watch and tell everybody during the holidays to watch the Triumph Awards. You that may have come that want to get one of the books, my last book, Rise Up, can get it at the counter. I'll sign it for you before you leave. I'll come back out and sign some of the books. Let us all stand. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like Repeat after me. We're an African people, robbed of our name, our homeland, our families, our language, our self-respect. But we shall rise, never to fall again. Up, you mighty race, we can accomplish what we will. No justice, no peace, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. Fist bump the one next to you, fist bump with me before you leave.